everyone, it's Sarah here from Happyhands-uk, back for another. So today I'm going to recreate one of my older videos that I did way back when I first started, when I did this piece, and it was a stop and start video, and it was with my Swirl Swirl tool, and the lovely Kerry has asked that I do a tutorial of it and show you how I done it. So I will recreate this again, but with my voice this time. So what I'm using is translucent clay. I'm using Cernit translucent, and all I've done is I've chopped off 3 equal parts. It's been a long time since I've done this one, so I had to go back and quickly recap myself on what I actually did. So yeah, we'll just see. It might change a little bit, who knows. It's just the way things go, isn't it? But this is the piece that Kerry took a shine to. You can tell I didn't even do the back very well. Oh well, we'll see anyway. So what I used is Arteza mica powder. So this one is brilliant silver, and this one is pearl white. So on the first one, I think I used like a little scooping tool, which I have no idea where will be anymore. But it doesn't really matter about how much you use, as long as the first two, one is considerably lighter than the other. So for the first one, I'm literally just gonna pop a dash on, and I will run that through my pasta machine until it's all mixed up, and it'll be like a very light grey colour. So I'll pause the video and do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's that mixed in, and what I'm going to do now is I've just taken one of my square cutters. This comes in a set, and it's the largest one. Oops. And I'm just going to pop out 3. This is on a setting 2, thickness setting 2. So we've got 2 of those. I'm just going to re-roll it and get another one out of it, so I have 3. So I'll just quickly give it a roll through. So yeah, this is on a setting number 2. Setting number 2. And I'm going to pop another one out. So we have now 3 of these little squares. I think I did do it bigger on the original. I think I used my 2-inch squares from my measuring square set, but it's not a huge difference really. It'll just mean that I make less in the end. So now what I'm going to do is add this to this, so we get less waste. So I probably won't need as much. I might just shove that with the other one. I'm going to add some more of this, and I just need to have a good contrast between the colour. So it needs to be considerably darker in colour. So I'll roll that through, add the colour, and I'll come back. So as you can see, I've popped on quite a fair bit of the brilliant silver in there. It does take a while to incorporate into the clay, because as this is a powder, it does make it want to just separate into balls. But it's just a matter of getting it going, and once it's in, and it'll get going. It's a bit messy. I like messy. Before I run it through the pasta machine, I like to make sure that as much of the powder is incorporated into the clay as possible, to leave less staining on my roller. So I'm just basically rubbing this in and just massage it through. You can see how the bits that they don't want to join just yet, but they will. You've just got to keep going. See how it's breaking up? You've just got to be persistent and encourage it to go in before you put it through your roller, and it will break up like this. It's because the clay is resisting itself. But once the powder has melded into the clay, it stops doing that, then it becomes sticky again. It's very messy, look. I love it. Right, so that's all nice and mixed through. So I'm going to cut, hopefully I'll get 3 out of this one. Maybe, maybe not. Oops. I'll cut 3. Now the last one is pearl white. I'm going to be using pearl white. In hindsight, if you're going to do this, probably do the pearl white first, and then there'll be less transference of the silver going onto your translucent clay. Hey ho, we love hindsight. Okay, so we have 3 of those. I do have some left, don't worry, I will use that for something else. So now, as you can see, my hands are filthy with this brilliant silver colour, so I'm just going to try and clean up everything. My hands, my pasta machine, everything. So I'll do that, and again, I'll be back. Okay, so a bit cleaner now, although it's in my nails. Never mind. I'm probably not going to use all of this, and I had this bit left from the last one as well. I'm just thinking that I don't really want too much. If I'm only getting 3 pieces, I'm just going to whiz it through the pasta machine to start with. And just to soften it up a little bit. And then I'm going to add a good amount. Yeah, it's unavoidable really, isn't it? I am going to add a good amount of this white pearl because I want it to be a nice pearly. As this is white, it looks white now, it's actually translucent, so I want the pearlescence of the mica powder to really come through. So I'm just wondering if that is enough. Might add a little bit more. Make sure I do get 3 out of it. Faffing a bit today, aren't I? Let's run that through. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to add quite a fair bit. I want to see this pearlescent kind of shift coming through. And if you remember rightly, it took quite a lot. So I might have to do it in a couple of goes. But I want to be able to see as much of the pearly effect as possible. And the more it's mixed in, the more you lose it, unless there's enough. So I'll give this a mix in and I will be back. Okay, so we're all mixed in. I had to put again about the same amount, so I did what you see in there twice to get this kind of pearly effect into the clay. So I'm going to chop out 3 pieces. And I might just patch up this last one. Just take that one off. What I like to do, if I'm doing a patch job, get rid of this rough edge first. So we have this, and then use a straighter edge to kind of patch it together. Just being a little bit neater really. And then give it a little chop. Don't really worry about them little bits. It's going to be a Makume Garne, so it will not be seen. And then all our little bits I'll put with the other darker one that I saved before. And do some scrap busting with that. So now I'm going to make a stack. I can't remember whether I did dark to light or light to dark, so I'm just going to go light to dark, I think. Let's just pull that up. So lightest, you've got the lighter grey, darker grey, lighter, oh, they've been sat there a while. Oh, don't mess. Naughty clay. There we go. Let's keep them separate. Now what I worked out after doing this is that it's pointless building any higher than the tool, in my opinion, because it just oozes out the side anyway. So I have this, and as you can see, that's a good height for it to be at, but it's quite small. So I'm going to go again with another layer, and I'm just going to try and spread it out. Let's get it in the right order. Okay, so now we have this. I mean, even that'll work fine, to be honest. But I'm just going to mush it together a bit and just gently spread it out, just making it a little bit larger this way on this surface and thinner on this side, on the height. I'll probably do it. Okay. Yep, we're good. So the next little trick I do is you need some release agent popping onto your clay, because you don't want this, all these little tiny bits here, you don't want clay getting stuck in there. It's a nightmare getting it out. So you can either use water or cornstarch. Personally, I use talcum powder. It's only a little bit. I realised that someone mentioned about the risks of using talcum powder. You know, it's just one of those things. It's my option to use it. But like I say, you can use cornstarch or water. It works just the same. I'm just also going to rub what's left on my finger down the sides of these a little bit, only because it sometimes does catch on the inside. Okay. So I'm going to take my swirl tool and I'm going to press it down. I do have to stand for this. So the best way I find to do it is to push it down and just wiggle it, not so that it comes off, but just so that you can feel it releasing. If you were to go all the way down in one swoop, it probably still would stick. So I just give it a wiggle. So I press and wiggle. Press and wiggle. Just to release it on the way down. But without removing it. And you can use your rolling pin just to apply the pressure a bit more evenly and wiggle. Make sure that you can lift it up and down. See, I'm not taking it out, but I do want the tool to hit glass if I can get it all the way down, right the way through the layers of the clay. And I think that we have it. And there we have our lovely swirl pattern. So this next step is entirely up to you. You can remove these squished out bits if you want. I like to. They also make really nice patterns for scrap clay. So I'm just going to chop those away. And then it is literally just a matter of popping everything back. So just pushing your clay back. This little bit's popped up, so I'm going to press it down. And just push it together. Okay, so as you can see, we have this. And now we have a nice block. That I'm rolling and pushing back together. We need where it's cut down to meld back together. And it won't want to at first because of the talc or the water or whatever you've used. It will want to stay apart. So you have to encourage it and just keep squeezing it. And then flatten it out again. And squeeze it back together. Sometimes it does take a while. It reminds me of the James Bond intro, where the blood comes down after you hear the shooting. Or is that just my imagination? So it's still not quite stuck on that top layer. This is normal. You can already see that kind of nice pattern. See these colours? It does need a bit of patience, but this is due to the talcum powder still working. But it'll be fine. Even after you cut, you can still kind of rub it back together. So I'm going to crack on and I am going to cut through this. So since doing this, I have learned another little trick. This top bit I always feel is a waste, and the bottom bit. So before I do anything, I just take a really thin sliver, because if you want it off at the end, it's harder to do the thinner it is. So I'm just gonna, actually I might need to let this stand for a bit. Let me see. Oh no, it's not too bad. So I've took a really thin sliver off that one, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. really thin sliver there. Okay, so now I have these two nice sides. Now whether I'll get the exact same pattern, even though I've used the same tool and the same colours, there's no guarantees. So I am going to now cut this in half. Oh, there or thereabouts. And we have now two lovely blocks. And these can also be used for something else. But this is what I was after, and also this looks nice on the outside as well, on the back. So you can either join those together or treat them as two separate pieces. Just looking at the thickness on that one. I could probably spread it out and do two separate ones. Maybe do a front. So I'm going to roll it out. And you see, this is how I got that nice pattern. How beautiful is that? Got a little bubble there. And obviously this is translucent as well, so when it bakes, you'll see this will go darker, but you'll see the nice shimmery pearl effect in there as well. So I'm going to pop this, whoops daisy, pop this on my thickest setting, just to make sure it's nice and level. It's so pretty. And I did use this. This is from my friend Amanda, asked me to do some shapes for her. And these are my wonky triangles. And the one that I did here is the larger wonky triangle. But I don't think, or maybe I will. If I just roll it a little bit more, I might actually get that on. Just might do it that way up actually. Yeah, I like it better that way, I think. Now what I did do on this one, I got these really nice rounded off edges. I used cling film and I put it over the top, and then when I pressed it down it gives it a nice kind of beveled edge. I don't have any at the moment. I wonder if I've got something though. Just bear with me 1 second. Ha ha ha! So I don't have any cling film, but I have got a bit of plastic wrap. One second. I don't want that in there. Let's take that off. Better. Okay, so, and I'm also going to use this piece of plastic kind of polythene, and it'll give it a nice, if I burnish it down over the top, it'll give it a nice smooth edge as well, smooth surface. And then I'm hoping that once I cut this out, it'll help to give it a nice beveled edge. Here's hoping. I'm sure it'll work the same way. Just don't think it can cut through it though. So now I'm going to cut it properly. That's better, I can feel it hitting glass now. We'll take all that off. And that's that done. So you can see this is just from where it kind of gets squashed under the plastic because the cutter can't cut through the plastic. But we can clear that away. And just burnish it off. Now what you want to be careful of, I can see fingerprints all over this, which we don't want. So before I bake it, I am going to burnish it with some paper and tidy it up, because I want to start with a very, very smooth surface. Cernit sands and buffs very, very nicely to a wonderful shine, a really nice high-end shine. But if there's any little divots, if you see here there's a little divot, that will show up. So I need to make sure that's gone and all my fingerprints are gone off it before I bake. I didn't realise I didn't have my light on, so I hope you could all see that. So this is the piece now. I've now put it onto a tile, and I've got some paper, just A4 copy of paper, and I'm not putting very much pressure down on this at all. I'm literally just rubbing it to cause friction. There are lots of noisy kids going past now. I wonder, I think school's coming out. Yeah, so I'm just getting all the little crevices out, little holes. I think I might have knocked my nail into it at some point, and I just want to get rid of that. And it has to be smooth to start with. So the more prepping that you do before baking, the easier it will be to get that lovely shine. The less work you'll have to do. Okay, so that's that. And then I do still have this other piece. I might do it that way. Well, they're both very nice, aren't they? Let me just pop it through the pasta machine. Okay, so we're all baked. I did do a few extra pieces, and also with the scraps I made this slab. I'm going to do an extra video showing you how I did that, and also I'm going to do a part 2 to this because it's quite long now, and we'll finish off in the next video. So this is how it's turned out. It's still a little bit warm. It is slightly different in the sense that this is, looks like I've used a lot more of the pearl. So it has turned out differently. But as you know, you can never get it twice the same. But that was the method. Probably just use a bit less of the pearl. But apart from that, yes, I'm happy with it. Yeah, so I will see you in the next one to complete all these pieces and to show you the scrap busting. Take care, everyone. Bye.